Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Breaking here at noon. A first look at the former CFO of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy leaving court less than an hour ago after learning his fate. He'll be spending close to 20 years in prison for embezzlement. And that does top our news this noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rhonda Walker.
I'm Jason Colthorpe. William Smith pleading guilty to charges in November for stealing more than $40 million from the nonprofit. Our Will Jones was there outside the courthouse, and Will, quite the coincidence, he's receiving the same number of years in prison as he worked for the Conservancy.
Yeah, he's going to be spending the next 19 years in federal prison. As you mentioned, that's the same number of years that he worked for the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. He actually got more years than the governor or the government was requesting. So he just walked out about 45 minutes ago of the federal courthouse. He walked to his car. We got a chance to ask him quite a few questions, but he was silent throughout all of the questioning from reporters. So both charges carried a maximum of 20 years, and those charges he pleaded guilty to were wire fraud and money laundering. Over an 11-plus year period, Smith embezzled $40 million. He used that money to fund a lavish lifestyle, buying designer clothing, going to basketball games, renting a yacht for a week in the Mediterranean, really living it up. And today he had a moment in court, and he spoke for a few minutes, and he shared some of his thoughts. He expressed remorse. He expressed his sorry that what happened to this community, that he, loved the Detroit Riverfront, that, the community put a lot of faith in him, and he's apologetic for violating that trust. The judge listened to his statements. The judge also read some of the statements provided by his defense from people in support of William Smith, saying he was a great guy, he helped a lot. But the judge said that the money that he was using to help other people in the community was at the community's expense. Now, we just spoke with Julie Beck. She's the acting U.S. attorney just a short time ago. Here's her reaction to what happened in court. What's your reaction to what happened?
Yeah. We are very pleased with the sentence imposed today by United States District Judge Susan DeClercq. We believe that she carefully considered everything that was in front of her and imposed a sentence that adequately reflected Mr. Smith's conduct and the impact on the community of his wire fraud and money laundering activities. And the money judgments were substantial, as they should be. So we're very pleased that Judge DeClercq took as much time as she did with this case in deciding what the proper sentence would be.
So here's what happens next. He was able to walk out of the courtroom. He's probably heading back home with his family, but he is going to be serving 19 years behind bars. He has to self-report. He has, I believe, 30 to 90 days before he has to self-report. They have to find space for him in a federal prison. We're going to have much more on the story. Some of the statements quite moving from people who volunteer with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, what they had to share about the impact of his actions. And we're going to have much more on that and more coming up at 5, and as well on clickondetroit.com. But we're live downtown at the federal courthouse. Will Jones, Local 4.
Yeah, some closure the entire city has been waiting to see. All right, Will, we appreciate it. Today we expect to get an update from Dearborn Heights about a teen who went missing from a youth facility more than a month ago. 16-year-old Tasia Keaton is safe after officers found her at a 62-year-old man's apartment. The man was taken into custody, but he has not been charged with any crimes. We'll keep you updated with what we learned from police this afternoon.
And now we are working to learn more about this house fire in Ecorse. Sky 4 was over the scene here about an hour ago. It's on 12th Street, and you can see the house has significant fire and smoke damage. We also saw first responders loading someone into an ambulance. That's all we know at this point, but we're continuing to monitor the investigation there, and we'll keep you updated here and on Click on Detroit as we learn more. A house in southwest Detroit is completely destroyed after a fire this morning. Sky 4 caught firefighters trying to get this blaze under control. Looks like it spread to more than one home. The blaze broke out near Western Street and Dix Avenue about 6:30 this morning. We did learn from investigators that the home was vacant. The cause of the fire is still under investigation.
Downtown Detroit getting all fired up. In fact, they've already ordered preliminary repairs for the LCA roof tomorrow because it's expected to be blown off tonight when the Pistons host the Knicks looking for their first ever home playoff victory. It'll be the first Pistons home playoff game in 6 years, again, taking on the Knicks tonight.
Yeah, Local 4's Nick Monticelli inside to give us a preview.
Good afternoon. Just about 7 hours now from tip-off for the first playoff game here in LCA since 2019. Pistons taking on the Knicks. Game 1 didn't go our way. Game 2 did, so the series is tied 1-1. Now, I had an opportunity to talk to former head coach Dwayne Casey about what he sees in this team, how the team has turned around, and why you might want to buy a lotto ticket. What did you see that you liked, and what do you think we probably need to improve on?
Well, JB and his staff did a great job of making adjustments, subtle adjustments, and it's about nuances at this time of the year. Two things. I think taking care of the basketball, did a much better job of that, and then also the physicality in rebounding, taking care of the boards. And it's a game of possessions at this time of year. So if you can take care of the basketball, cut those turnovers down, and then keep them from getting extra possessions by rebounding, boxing out, being physical, that's huge at this time of year.
You have the ability to see into these players and to see this game unlike most of us can. Did you see something that thought that we might be in the playoffs at the beginning of the season? Because nobody thought we were going to be here.
No, I said, Nick, if you saw that we were going to be in the playoffs at the beginning of the year, you need to go play the lottery, the Michigan lottery, right now. Because, again, nobody saw it. But, again, it started last summer, JB working with guys, communicating with his players, building them up, getting them ready. He has a cohesive group together defensively and offensively.
Our thanks to Coach Casey for hanging out with us pre-game. I also want to point out that if you do have a ticket, great, you're going to enjoy the night. It will be an awesome atmosphere in here. If you don't, you can still come down. There's going to be a free party outside starting at 4 p.m. on the plaza. DJ, music, food, drinks, the whole 9 yards. A good spot to hang out. Even if you don't have a ticket, you can still be involved in some Pistons playoff atmosphere. We're here inside LCA. Nick Monticelli, Local 4.
In fact, any of the bars and restaurants downtown are going to be rocking as well. So come on down and enjoy this time. And join us tonight right here on Local 4 for coverage of the game. We'll be live inside Little Caesars Arena right before the game, talking to some Pistons legends, team officials. Coverage starts at 4 p.m. and goes all the way through Local 4 News at 6.
Now let's take a look at the world's largest beer tent. You can't see it. That's actually Lambeau Field in Green Bay, but the NFL draft getting underway there tonight, and some of the setup, I'm telling you, looks like a big old beer tent. Tennessee Titans have the first pick of the draft tonight. It'll be a quarterback.
Yeah, I think our producer is being kind and showing a different view of Lambeau since it's nothing compared to when we hosted the NFL draft. The Detroit Lions will have to wait quite a bit of time. We have the 28th pick overall. Recently, I sat down, though, with Lions general manager Brad Holmes about what it takes to pick the perfect player for the Lions.
This game is really hard to play, and it takes a certain person, it takes a special human being, and it's not just about how much talent you have. It's about how much determination, how you're going to face adversity, and are you going to sink down in a hole? Are you going to just rise to the occasion?
And he's looking for elite players. He doesn't matter what position they play. If you want to watch that entire intriguing conversation that I had with Brad Holmes, especially ahead of the draft, you can head over to Local 4 Plus. It is streaming right now. The first round of the draft, by the way, starts at 8 p.m.
There is some intrigue in the forecast today, dare I say.
It's going to be hot and summer-like and really nice for all of those outdoor plaza parties for the Pistons.
Absolutely. Holding on to some filtered sunshine, but overall the thicker cloud cover well north of here as we take a look at satellite. And so that northern tier of lower Michigan, and then you have to go farther west of Milwaukee to really see the overcast skies. But some clearing conditions from here at Metro Detroit down to Chicago, Indianapolis, and even into St. Louis. Live look at LCA, and boy, is it going to be busy outside and inside later on today. We're already sitting at 75 degrees in the city, 75 in Ann Arbor, 76 in Pontiac, and 75 in Monroe. So widespread mid-70s with variable wind, but on the lighter side for today. We'll continue to warm things up. I think that within the next hour, we'll go up a few more degrees. And then by 3-4 o'clock, we're talking 81 for that afternoon high. Calling it mostly clear, but it is kind of like a hazy sunshine, kind of a thick, thin layer out there, shall I say, giving you a little bit of that filtered sun. But 5-day temperature trend, we will go down a little bit tomorrow, and that's because of rain showers that build back in. By the afternoon, you'll start to feel that humidity, and then we'll have rain and a few embedded thunderstorms rolling through Friday evening. Cooler weekend ahead, but it does come with some sunshine. We'll give you an hour-by-hour look next.